So last time I fucked up. We are here with Joran. So Joran, thank you so much for joining me today. He's from Netherlands, and he pretty much went from a video gamer, like pretty much professional video gamer, into e-commerce. He got from one of the things you mentioned, from one sale a day to like $1,000 per week in sales, which is pretty awesome. And I'm here to ask Joran, some questions, to share some insights from his journey, some of the lessons that he learned, and to help you guys on your journeys. Joran, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, my man. Yeah, I'm also excited for like what's to come, right? So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Joran. So yeah, if you can tell more about your journey. So you mentioned you were playing video games on quite like professional level. How that journey was for you?
It started what it's about. I played professional for 8 years. League of Legends is the game, and I played it since I was probably like, I think I was 12 or something. But it started more as something that's fun, right? It started as something that's fun for me, and I kind of got addicted to it, and I got obsessed with it. And I think that's like what for a lot of people is like that. And I think I had partly the luck and maybe the talent to learn quite quickly and learn from my mistakes. And I just got better really fast. So at that point, I started to think quite quickly, even though it was maybe not justified. I started to think quite quickly, okay, maybe I can do something with this, right? Because I was watching the streams of like professional players, and maybe I want to do this. Like I can do this, right? And then because I was improving so fast, I was thinking, yeah, this is actually possible. So I just kind of had that goal set for me, like, okay, I want to, like, first I want to play with these people, and then I want to reach the same rank as them, because you had like a ranking system. And then I started reaching those goals. It's like, okay, well, I don't know what's the next step, like professional team maybe, and then kind of when you start reaching those ranks, you also get invited to play for teams and whatnot.
And so at what stage, like at that stage, like did you make any money from it, like from playing video games, or only professional players in this specific like industry are making money?
I mean, it's only professional players that make the money. Even back then when I started out, my first team I think was like 500 euros a month or something, and it's like or like 750, like 500, 750, and it was like, to me in the start it was just a proof of concept. It's kind of the same when if I had my first sale, right? Just like I kind of get to prove that it works, and I got to prove my parents, for example, that it worked, like that I could make money off of this like job, because like they didn't believe it, right? That this was the thing.
Do they give you like equipment? Like do they give you like at least like a computer, or you have to buy it for your own money?
No, I had the privilege to that my parents had a computer, right? So I would just use that probably more than I should have, but like and it worked out, right?
Awesome. And so like okay, so you went on that journey, and then you mentioned you moved to Germany, like that's where like the top players are, or like what's kind of the story?
How it's kind of set up is that you have, for every country there's like a division or like a league, a competition. And so you have a competition for France, for Germany, you have one for the United Kingdom, you have one for Spain. So in the start, I went to the first team I moved to was in Spain in 2017. It was very brief. It was for like a couple months. And then I moved there, and I like how it looks like you live in like a gaming house with all the other guys you're playing in a team together with, and so you basically share your whole life. And to me back then that was super exciting, because it was like something that I kind of dreamed about, and it's like, wow, I can play games like with all the people that I like play with online and meet them. It was really cool to me. And then that ended up like I ended up contract running out, and then I could find another team, and then I even went to the United Kingdom. But since like the last 3 years, I've been in Berlin from 21 to 24. I've been in Berlin, and since then this year I ended up being in Spain. But then I decided to retire and do e-commerce, right?
So what was the like? Did you? Is that kind of because you're young? How old are you?
26, 26, yeah.
26. Is that kind of like in video game? I'm just so curious about that whole industry in video gaming. Like, do you have like until like 25 usually like your prime or like or
Mm,
30?
I mean, it's like I don't really believe in that because I feel like as long as you're motivated and as long as you have the discipline to like keep going, I think age doesn't really matter.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, when you are in esports for organizations, it does matter because younger players, like supposed talents, because esports is not really profitable, right? So like
Hmm.
organizations don't actually make profit. It's like the one way for them to make money is that like they find the talent or they scout the talent, and they will sell them. Like they sign them for like a 3-year contract, and then they will just try to sell them to a team if they perform well, and like that's how they like make their investment back essentially. Like that's one of the ways to make the money. So if I'm 25, right? Even for example, like last year, I had one of my best years as a pro. I still get very little offers because like for some reason, I mean, I don't have like the age factor, right? And supposedly like maybe they're worried about my motivation or about my discipline or like I don't really know the reasoning why, right? But I just get less opportunity than a young player. Plus, they're cheaper. They're also cheaper, so it's like they get to sell them for more. They're cheaper to pay monthly. Plus, this is a higher upside. So
Mm.
that's where I think it's difficult if you're not at the top. Because like I have played at the top, but for like the last couple years I haven't, and then it's just really difficult to get back there.
Hmm. Interesting. Very like ruthless industry.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And so how did you get into like how did you transition from that into e-commerce? Like did you know about e-commerce before? Like what was your kind of overall like motivation to get into e-commerce instead?
Um, Funnily enough, like in 2019, I looked at it and I was like kind of interested in it, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this on the side because you have quite a long time to between seasons, right? It's kind of with football, it's the same where you have like you have like a summer break, and for esports, there's like a quote unquote summer break between September and January. So that's the time where you can essentially have free. And in between that, it's all work. Like all the other months, it's like full work. Um, but then you have free. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna like this interests me. I'm curious. Like I'm gonna do this. Then I realized that like I bought some course. Like I don't know what I bought. Like it was like very basic, and I ended up like trying this. I don't even really remember for how long I tried. I think it was like for a month maybe, but
Hmm.
not how I was trying now. Because like this is way different, and it just failed like dramatically. It failed, and then I just kind of dropped it because I had to focus again on my actual job, and so that was that then. And but since then I had it in my mind, and now I just like I could keep playing esports, right? Like I could have kept going now as well. But like the wages are kind of average, and like okay, I'm gonna like, and I'm becoming older, right? So I was just thinking, okay, what do I want? Like I can do this for another year, like be financially fine, I guess, and then still be in the same position that I am now, or I just make the decision now to quit, right? So then I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, well, I mean, why not? Like, and then I was researching, okay, what can I do? And I knew dropshipping back in my mind, but like that it is possible, but like on the internet there are so many things. Like, can you still do it? Is it still worth it to try? And
Mm.
I'm I'm very like convinced that if I put my mind to something and I put the hours and the effort into it, I can make it happen and I can make it work. Because I feel like I'm very how do I say that? Like
Obsessive.
yeah, like I learn really quickly from my mistakes. Like I try to implement stuff really fast from people that like I know that they just have more knowledge than me, or it's like for me it's just like I'm just like a sponge kind of when it comes to that stuff. So
Mm.
and obviously the upside is huge, right? Like the amount of effort you put in it's gonna, in my opinion, is gonna go to pay it back like eventually. Like that was just my thought. Okay, I'm going to try something. I don't really want to like, I don't know, go to study. I don't really want to like just work a normal job with like no real like ambition. Like it's very limited in what you can do in that sense. Like I can just start doing a job and okay, it'll be fine, right? But and then what? Like it's like I don't really like have any like ambition in that sense for it depends on what you do, right? But essentially the options are just quite limited. Yeah.
Mm.
And where I wanted to get at was that it's just the upside is so huge, and I was just thinking, okay, I want to do something where I'm in control of making like the money, right? I'm in control. If I learn enough, if I put in enough time, like it will pay off eventually. Like even if I put in months and months and months and I don't get anything back from it, which will suck kind of in the start, right? Because you get zero gratification from it, which obviously like just hurts emotionally probably a little bit. So I've had my
Mhm.
moments, right? I've had my moments where like I was doubting even in the time that I've been in there now. It's like, okay, well, but then I think once it does start working out, it's like the amount of time that you put into, you will just get it back. Like you will just get it back. The time you will get it back with also with freedom, and which you will not have if you just do it like I don't know, let's say a 9 to 5 job. You just won't get that time back. It's just this
Mm.
in the same way as if you like have super successful months within dropshipping, which is my goal.
Mhm. Yeah, my man, it's so important. Like, I mean, I have a lot of these conversations, with our clients overall, like with entrepreneurs, and it's some people that just want to start a business, and you had this realization and kind of like projecting like few years forward. Okay, what will happen if I just continue to do exactly the same thing, or if I continue like you said, get like a 9 to 5 job, whether that will give you the outcomes that you want, right? So if you want something more out of life, not just like living like average life, then you have to do something different, and that obviously comes with certain type of risk, like you mentioned. Like for example, you launch a business and it doesn't have traction right away, but then you know that if you keep trying, if you keep working on it, eventually it will work out, and all of that effort, all of that energy, all of that risk that you took will be worth it. And I think that's like very important, the realization that people watching, I think if they can start reflecting on their own journeys, like especially if they're like still working like regular jobs that maybe don't have a lot of possibilities to grow or will not get them to the goals that they want in life. It's so important to just kind of like have longer term vision for their life and where they want to be like in 5, 10 years from now, 15 years. Because if they keep continuing doing like exactly the same thing they're doing, like that might not lead them to the outcomes that they want. And you had this realization, I mean, you're still very young, like you'll be like a millionaire by 30, so it's like if you dedicate yourself to it, it's like it just seeing so many stories of our clients, my own journey. Like if you're in a fast growing industry like e-commerce is, like if you do the right things and if you can consistently keep pushing, then it's inevitable that you'll have traction. And when you have traction, it's actually very scalable. So you can scale to like very solid numbers and get financial independence, have a freedom to travel, have the freedom to live in different countries if you want to. Just kind of like so many opportunities open up if you just stick to it.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, I totally agree. It's just um, it is like the nice thing I think about like for example BBA is that like it's not easy, right? Like it's a hard decision to make in the first place because you're gonna have to take a huge risk. And I didn't know. Like I'm gonna be completely honest. Like when I made the decision to join, like I instantly after I made the decision, I kind of doubted myself and was like, okay, holy shit, like then this is it, because it was like a huge commitment for me then to like to make the step to do this. Because in my opinion, it requires like a lot of your time if you wanna succeed. And maybe that's also because I had the time and I was kind of committed. I like had relatively quickly like some success, right? And that is like it's just like that. It's not going to be an easy thing, but I can definitely be worth it because for me, I already now it is showing like proof of concept, right? That it does work, and you just need to find in the end, you just need to find like a really solid product, and you need to really learn how to market it well, and then it can definitely work out. So that it's just, I mean, even for me, like I'm still learning, right? Like hopefully I can like scale this up to like big numbers.
Oh, you for sure will. Like, I mean, if you stick to it, like it's just inevitable. Like, certain things in life, like, inputs and outputs. Like, as long as you do something, right, you get some feedback, or you kind of like iterating on, okay, so maybe I should have done this differently, right? And getting feedback from someone, and you iterating, and next time you do it like 1% better, and then you do something again. Okay, next time I'll do it this one thing differently, and then you constantly throughout those feedback loops. It's just inevitable, you know from my experience, like observing so many journeys of entrepreneurs. It's just inevitable that that you'll have success. And just seeing some of our clients, like, I don't know if you know Marek, from our community, who's like, he's been in e-commerce for like 5 years now. I mean, first few years have not been like very like successful. Then he scaled his first business to like 1 million a month, and then he made some iterations to his business, changed his business. Now he's doing 5-9 million a month with his business, which is incredible. And so just kind of like reflecting on those journeys of other people who have been through the same kind of passes, I think just gives a lot of inspiration, and also just shows that everything is possible if you just put your mind to it and you stick to it.
Yeah, I mean that I'm definitely convinced about, because I think that's also kind of where my mindset comes from. Is because the chance, for example, to become a League of Legends professional is so small. It's like ridiculously small. It's like, I don't know, millions of people play the game, and I think like only 100 people or something, like, let's say, are like professional in Europe, right? So it's like extremely unlikely to make it, and somehow I did, which also just makes me think that, and in the end, it is just because obviously also some talent, right? But it's also because you just put the time and the effort into it. That's what's going to be like. It's not just some, okay, I'm gonna start doing this. Like, let me just try this. Like, it's not. I don't think it will work if you just try it. Like, you will have to like really like put your mind to it, and it's gonna have to be like a priority in your life. And then I think it can pay itself off hugely.
For sure, for sure. So, what was the? We had a question here. Did you have any prior experience, like before getting into e-commerce? And you mentioned that, like, very briefly, like years ago, like you pretty much started with no experience.
I mean, I tried one product, right, and I remember just copy and pasting like the ads, on Facebook, and just like launch it, right. And in the end, I got like my Facebook account got like suspended because of it, right? And so like I didn't have much success, and I don't even really consider it as prior experience. Like today is a whole different ballpark in terms of like e-commerce. So I when I went into this, zero experience with sales, zero experience with like how to like make a website and everything, like, and started from scratch basically.
Have any of the like, did you use any of the learnings or any of the lessons from your previous like video gaming experience, like so far in e-commerce, or any of the things that you find similar between, let's say, becoming very good with like video editing versus becoming very good is in e-commerce?
I think a thing that maybe gives me an edge is that it's really easy for me to just to grind, because like I would play like 12 hours like a day. I would play this game, right? Something like that, like
Wow.
maybe more sometimes. So for me, it was kind of easy to find a transition into just then spending that time instead of playing this game to like e-commerce. Plus, um, I think what I learn is that if I make a mistake, that is like, to me, it's very ingrained in me that I just like really focus on not making it again, like learning why I made it, and why in the first place why I made the mistake, and then try to fix it, and then kind of keep it that way. So it's more of the general things that I took from it, I feel like, instead of like the how to learn and how to become better, and that I think is what I definitely applied. Yeah, pretty much that. Because I think besides that, I don't think there's necessarily that much, but it's just mostly the mindset that comes into it. If you want to like, even because when you play professional esports, it's just to stay at the top or to stay among the best. You're just gonna have to constantly adapt. And you're gonna constantly learn new things. So it's like it never really stops. The game always changes. I think you can look at e-commerce the same way. Like it just keeps changing. Like I can imagine, for example, for you, that it's even for you when that much experience and that much success. Like you keep learning. There's new things changing all the time. So
Every day, my man. Like every day, we're going to conferences. We're buying like coaching. We're buying consulting calls. Like we're joining masterminds. Like every single day is a learning experience. Like no matter what level, like whether you're just starting out, like you're getting that initial momentum, or you already have the momentum, but you want to maintain it, stay on the top, and just like keep building on it. Like it always like it's never ending process of like growth, evolution, development. And I think that's something that I mean, one of the lessons that I've learned as well, like kind of like if you stop evolving, if you stop like innovating, it just kind of declines, right? Because your competition doesn't wait. Like they evolve, they innovate, right? And if you don't, like, I mean, then you'll be left behind.
yeah, no, I think for sure, and I think that's also kind of the exciting part about it because it doesn't really become stale that way. Like it doesn't keep you don't keep doing the same thing over and over, and I think people just get bored in a sense as well. And I think with e-commerce, it happens naturally because people are always trying to find improvements and always trying to find better ways, better things. And even like when it comes to Facebook changing, like I don't know, something about their ad structure or like you get new options that you can pick, for example, that happens. So not everything is. It's constantly evolving, and which also happened in like esports. Basically the developers of the company would like would patch like every 2 weeks there would be loads of changes that would be, and as a team, as an individual, you just had to learn it. Like which sometimes would be annoying, right? Because you finally think you figured something out, and okay, this is like the best way to do it, and then like it suddenly just changes again, and then it doesn't work anymore. So you're gonna have to like find something else that you can maybe like have an edge over the others.
For sure, yeah. I think there's definition even like I forgot. I think something from science perspective, kind of like the brain that is like stagnant. Like the typical path is that was established for many years. Like you go to college or you go to university, you learn whatever they teach you there, and then you get into like a real world. Like you get a job, and then you work at that job and doing the same thing, for like 40 years, and then you retire and then you die. Right? That's a typical path that was established for most people. But the real world is today with all of the technologies, it's like innovating. Like pretty much every single month, there's something new to it, new technologies. Like AI is disrupting certain things. Platforms change. Like what people buy changes. And so if you don't stick on top of it, like then it just won't be like very successful journey. You have to constantly look for, okay, what's new, constantly be excited about it. And but I think that as you mentioned, that's exciting part about it, because like every day I come to the office, like, okay, what's new? What's changed? Like, learning like on Twitter, learning from different people that we pay for, like for consulting and stuff, and just constantly being on top of things. I think that's what makes a difference, in longevity of your journey and overall like how much money you'll make. But also very exciting part of it because it's never stops evolving.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. It's just even when it comes to product research, it's like that because products also evolve, right? Like that. Like then there's suddenly it's a better version of what's already working, and then this constantly happens as well. So it's like sometimes you're gonna run into that if you were to start out that you think you found like a good product, and then if just to find out that there's already a better version of it, right? And this is also like it's everywhere. It's kind of everywhere like that.
For sure. What would you say to people that think that like e-commerce is a scam, or maybe they don't think that they're capable of doing it themselves?
Um, I mean, I mean, I can assure you that it's not a scam, right? Because I mean, I've experienced it myself. That like it's at least some sort of success. with it. It's just I think most of the time people that like would say that it's a scam is just because if you try it, you really have to commit to it, and it's not something you just like do on the side. And that's where this I think is a really important thing to make, because I think the voices are the loudest from people that don't succeed with it. And
That's such a good point you made.
yeah, and that's like what you hear, but like there's also a lot of like success stories, right? And those are not just fabricated. There's actually people having success with it, and there's a way to get to that point, and that way is not going to be easy. But if you're willing to do it, then I think it's definitely possible, and I certainly believe it's also possible for myself. It's like I'm like kind of talking like I already have it, but I didn't reach that point either. It's just something I believe that it's true.
For sure. Do you think e-commerce is too saturated?
I don't think e-commerce is saturated. I just think like certain products are, I guess. Like I think a lot of people try, right? A lot of people try, and I think for a good reason, because there's a lot of success to be had. And but I don't think it's saturated. No, I just think like I think that's like more like, to me that's more like a product thing. Like certain products are saturated because like too many people have tried that, right? But there's so
Mm-hmm.
many products that you can try, and there's so many different angles you can approach it from. So there's like a world of opportunity out there, I feel like.
For sure. That's how usually, and it's not just e-commerce. From my observation, it's like people try something for like, let's say they launch like a first product and it doesn't work, and they're like, yeah, and then they go, they go to forums and they start complaining, and they're like, yeah, it's a scam, it doesn't work, right? And so, uh, I think there's like difference in attitude, and I mean, attitude is something that it's not even like something like tangible, right? I mean, you cannot put it like on paper, but attitude towards things, like if something doesn't work, you can either like go and give up, or you can learn like what could have been done better, or maybe
Yeah,
even like if you focus on the right things in the first place, and getting feedback from someone, getting some help if you need to, but figuring out what was the problem in the first place and finding the solution to it. And I think that applies to so many different areas of life, where people would try something and it doesn't work and they just give up too early.
right. No, I totally agree. And to be honest, I also think if I would have, I would have been nowhere without like the help that I got. Because it's like you are going to run into so many problems and into issues, but if you're gonna all have to figure out on your own how to solve them, it's gonna take so much more time. That's like one thing that I did realize, that I run into so many things and just had help, right? Like the community, like the coaching, like I can ask and I'll get an answer, and I think that's also hugely important, because I don't know. I think now it took me, for example, I think it took me like 1.5 months to have first like my first sale, right, into 1,000 a week, I think it was. And then
Mhm.
I think that would have taken me, I don't know how long, if it wasn't for the help that I got. Like I don't even dare to say like a number. Like that could have been like 3 months, could have been 6 months, for example. And then I can see if you're like maybe doing it for 5 months and you still don't have any success. It's like, okay, this is really tough. Like you feel like you're getting nowhere. So that's where like if the help, if you there is help, then there's always help to be found somewhere. Um, it's just, I mean, that is just insanely useful, right? I think.
Mm, for sure. I mean, I have seen this in my journey. Some at some point I would be like, oh wow, I would have some challenges. It was a business, and then that's it. It's probably doesn't work. And then I would reach out to some people, and that have been like few steps ahead of me. I would ask them for advice, and they would give me a solution in 5 minutes. And I'm like, I go back, I implement it. Oh, it actually works. Now I'm back on track. And so yeah, just learning that, it's kind of like you can always, and you're a smart individual. Like, I mean, you can probably go and figure it out by yourself, but you can shortcut that learning curve like so much. Like if you just learning, like it's the same as you learning to drive a car. Like you can go and like, yeah, here's here's the transmission, here's the steering wheel, go and drive. But then usually most people try to get like driving instructor, learn how to drive, or get some help. And that's why only have we have accidents, but not as many as we would have if everyone would be just trying to do everything on their own. um it's interesting. It's interesting perspective.
Right. Yeah. No, I think, yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with that.
Awesome. So yeah, guys, please drop questions from Joran here on YouTube, on Instagram, so that I can ask him. So on your journey so far, like kind of like getting into e-commerce, like getting like fully dedicated to e-commerce, what were the major lessons that you have learned so far, or major kind of like mindset shifts that you had?
I think gotta give that some thought. Gotta give some thought. I mean, I think like I don't really know if like I had like a huge mindset shift, to be honest. I think I'd always stayed kind of consistent for me. I never really felt like it was a even I don't think I approached like for example my winning product now. I don't think I approach it like much differently besides maybe the method how I found it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the biggest difference, like in terms of how I found this product compared to others that I tried before. And like the fact that it really solves like a problem that people have, like and the problem is kind of like apparent, like it's pretty it's like a daily issue kind of. And I think that is
Mm-hmm.
like I think that's important for that. That's like just huge. Like if it solves a big problem, um I think then it's just about how you market it. And if it's like I don't like think besides that there was big mindset shift. There was times where I was just, because I think after my second product, because I remember I spent like 12 hours a day, like for 3 days in a row to search products, like, and I found like 50 products or something like that, and some of them got like a green light, right? So I started testing them, and I spent the next 3 days, 12 hours making the website. And then I was making the ads, so it was kind of the same amount of time, right? And then I just had zero success, right? So like, then I felt like really bad because I was like, wow, I spent this much time and nothing really worked. And but then in the end, I don't know, somehow I just kept telling myself that it's worth it and what I was doing it for, right? Because I'm not just doing it for me. Like I want, obviously I want the success, right? But like there's also bigger goals. Like I don't know, I want to uh, retire my parents eventually if I can,
Mm-hmm.
and just like that's something I really would want to do. And I think this is a great opportunity for me to get to that point. And I just try to remind myself of like what I'm doing it for, and like what my goal is. Because even though I felt really bad, that eventually like got me to like a positive mindset again. And because I think actually one of the most difficult things is once you have a product that doesn't work, you just feel like you start over again. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that is like uh, that's like a difficult hurdle, can be a difficult hurdle to overcome, because then you'd have to search the product again, for example, and then you're gonna have to like make a website again, and you're gonna make ads again, and that can, if you have to do that over and over, it can feel really bad because you feel like you start from the start. And I think that's like a perspective. If you look at it from that perspective, it can kind of bring you into a downward spiral of just negative thoughts. But
Mm-hmm.
meanwhile you're doing those things, you start learning to do them more efficiently. You start learning how to do them even better, like how to make your ads different angles, have make it more run more smoothly, make the website better looking. Like you are learning things while you're doing that, but you just gotta find those things that you're learning and be aware of them, so then you can apply it for next time. So it's not like the time is wasted. It's actually not. Um, it's just not tangible as much as seeing sales, for example. So you are learning, and then you just apply it next time again, and then again, and then everything gets like you said, like maybe 1% better. But like that 1% will eventually maybe perhaps make a difference in if you start making the sale or not.
Yeah, it's such a good point. And then if you reflect on everyone who's actually succeeded in business, I like this story when with Elon Musk, right? Like, so when they were running PayPal, as a business, he was one of the co-founders, And so they were running that business, and the business was literally like losing money, and they were going downwards. Like literally, they only had a few months left of the cash in the business to keep it afloat, keep it alive. And then they started to kind of like analyze the data. Okay, what happened? Like what we can do better? And they found that majority of the people that were there were good customers for them were eBay sellers. People who were selling on eBay, and so they just decided to just double down on that market, right? Kind of like analyze all of the data they had, and he's not stupid, right? Like he's very smart,
Mhm.
like very high IQ. Like his founders are very smart, and co-founders. And if you kind of like just reflect um, on that, like even successful entrepreneurs, they have these challenges, right? It's not just you. Like overall business is, there's certain challenges you have to overcome. Like you mentioned, initially it might not work out from the first time. It might not even work out from the second time, from the third time. Like second product, third product, maybe even 10th product that you test, will not work out. But if after that, like one product works, that's worth of all of the effort that you spent, and also you learn so much throughout the process, and then you can replicate that success many times. And just kind of like, seeing this as a bigger picture, not like getting emotionally attached to the outcomes. And I know it's hard. I've been through that journey myself, because like, testing different products doesn't work, doesn't work, doesn't work, doesn't work, doesn't work, doesn't work. But then eventually something hits if you just keep to it. You, as you mentioned, try different angles for the product, try to position product differently, try different kind of ads, and then when it hits, okay, cool. Like now all of that effort that you spent, now it's definitely worth it. Now sales are coming in, you're profitable. Like now you also learn so much throughout that process that you can be more efficient in the future. And I think not not giving up too early. That's probably like one of the biggest things that I have seen with successful entrepreneurs, that they keep, they keep staying focused on the thing that they want to figure out, and that makes the whole difference. All of the successful entrepreneurs we see, these days, they all have been through these challenges. All of the people that we glorify, uh, you know, it's something that just part of entrepreneurship. And so if you're getting into entrepreneurship, or maybe you already have a business, just realizing that and reflecting on that business is a constant innovation game. It's a constant testing game. Some of the things you test will not work out. It's just totally normal. It's normal. It's like you're not like, universe is not like trying to punish you for something. Like it is what it is, right? It's a reality of business. And but as long as you're staying focused and you're learning from that data that you get back from the market, you will 100% succeed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think so too. I think for me, like, I think what made it easier for me is that I mean, haven't been doing it for that long. It's just to focus on the process and like learn from the process. Being aware of that makes it a lot more bearable if things don't really work out the way you're expecting it to. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't even expecting it to work out. Like the first 3 products as well, like 2 products. Like I wasn't expecting to get sales like straight away. Like that would be, it would have really, really surprised me if that would happen. For example.
That's a good point, actually. Having the expectations, like, because when you have like very high I mean, overall, like, frustration, and some people have depression, is because it's a misaligned expectation. They expect something to happen, and it happens a different way, and then they're getting upset, they're getting frustrated, and they get demotivated to pursue that. If you have the expectations that, let's say, you test, I don't know, 10, 20 products, and one of them will work, and the rest of them that don't work, like, you will still learning something from that experience. If you have that expectation, instead of like, I'm trying to make this product work, and it's 100% will work, and you're putting like all of that energy, and you're so focused on the outcome, and then it doesn't work out, then it can get you like very demotivated.
Yeah, that can be painful. That can be painful for sure. Yeah.
Cool. We had some questions here. What is your niche, if it's not secret?
My niche it's a pet niche now. Yeah, I
Hmm.
got that's where I got my first success.
Very
Yeah.
nice. I always recommend to people, like, I personally like health and beauty, but the third niche I always recommend is a pet niche. I think these niches are pretty much evergreen. Like you can sell these products like throughout the year. You can also integrate some other products into your store. Once you have success with a main product, you can start adding some other product to the store as well, to get even more customers and to sell those new products to your existing customers. I believe pet niche is phenomenal. Do you sell products in Dutch market or do you sell them in the US market?
To me, I'm only doing Dutch and Belgium market now. Yeah.
Nice. Also, yeah, I think that's another great point. If you're from some country like Spain is pretty good market. I know Mexican market is blowing up, like it's very fast growing, like e-commerce market. Dutch market has been like pretty good for e-commerce entrepreneurs. We have so many people that I know selling in Dutch market. Swedish, there's many different markets, and especially if you come from that country, let's say you come from Germany, you come from Netherlands, you come from Sweden, you come from Italy, you already understand the mentality of people, you already know how to communicate the value of the products. You don't have to translate anything, and it could be less competitive market than, let's say, US market, which is obviously very competitive. There's many people trying to sell products there. So yeah, pet niche is something that I would definitely. You made a great choice there. So I had another question here for you. How do you test demand on the product before buying, stocking it?
This question for me?
Yeah.
How do you test demand on the product before buying and stocking it? I mean, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing, right? Like when you do this, you do e-commerce, you don't stock the product, right? So like you outsource the delivery of the product. So the way you test it is just that's why you find the product, you build a website, you make the advertisements for the products, and then if it were to work, I think you can eventually get to a point, if you have a lot of success, where you can start stocking it to lower the shipping times and the overall costs in general. But like that's why there's so little risk, right? To start off.
For sure. And one of the things here as well is, you can stock products like, so for instance, drop shipping, it might have like a bad name, because some people are just like using either poor quality products or they're not shipping their products, with the faster shipping lines. But overall, like shipping products from China can be very scalable. Like we have a client, in ESS, which is for more experienced like entrepreneurs. He is doing like last year he did $17 million in sales. This year he is doing about $2 million a month, like already. So he's on track to do like probably $25 million, and he's shipping all of his products from China. And he wouldn't, he doesn't buy these products up front. He always like validates them first, gets, sees if there is a demand for the products, if people are ready to pay for it. And once he validated that, only then he buys the inventory, keeps it in China warehouse, ships it to customers, and his return ratios are very low. Customers are happy, and he's building pretty good business. And so for people that kind of because that was also one of my things, getting into e-commerce, I was always thinking that you have to buy the inventory up front, and that is like obviously quite big investments oftentimes. And so kind of starting with drop shipping model, validating the product, and only after it has success, you made some money from it, you can move to, let's say, 3PL, like warehouse somewhere like close to your customers, so they get their product faster. But you can also ship from China with relatively fast shipping times, like 8-10 days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So I think this one we answered. How do you deal, or what steps you would normally take to improve product quality?
I don't really know if I even know the answer to that question, really.
I can help you here. So kind of like how we do it, and probably the next steps would be for you as well. I can answer this one. So if you work with a good supplier and you tell them that, let's say you need to improve the product quality, they'll be able to source the product from different factories. They'll be able to improve certain features on the product as well, and they'll be able to improve it, the quality, put the branded packaging on them, and that's pretty much it. But you just need to work with a good supplier in order to facilitate that. Which platform are you currently using for orders, like to fulfill your orders?
Right now, for me, it's Ideal and Bank Contact for the Netherlands and Belgium, and I'm working on adding Klarna. Should be happening soon as well.
Nice.
But I also ran into some problems with, for example, with the Shopify payments and stuff. So like this which is hopefully getting resolved soon. But yeah, like that's what I'm using now.
So someone asked, so do you have Ideal, right? You mentioned you have Ideal, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that's necessary for if you want to do it in the Netherlands, you need Ideal, and if you want to do Belgium, you need Bank Contact. And Klarna is also like a big plus. I think a lot of your sales will also be through Klarna. Like I don't know, probably like 30-40% might actually be through Klarna. So like hopefully when I integrate that as well, it will I will see an uptick in the sales that I'll make.
We also had another question here, which has a high profit margin and less tax to grow high on European or US market. I think, Europe, in my experience, I can share kind of like from my observations, like Europe has less competition, which is great. And you can also take some of the products that have done well in US market, just pretty much translate them to different like European markets and have a lot of success. So Europe is great to get started, but for the scale of the business, probably US market is something you can explore like over time, but you just need to get more reps, I believe, like for US market, because it's higher competition. People have probably seen more products, more different ads and different creatives, and that's what I would recommend. But European markets are great to get started, get initial momentum.
Right. Yeah. That's. It's also what you said earlier, right? It's when you said that, like if you are from a European country, to start in like your own country, because you understand the mindset, you understand the people, and the language. Obviously, it's going to make it a lot easier to. And 1 second. Yeah. And what was I? And then I got distracted for a second. Yeah, if you're from that country, it's going to make things a lot easier. I feel like in the start, because even when I looked at 2019, I just like started with the US, and I had no idea about the regulations and what you need for it and everything. It's like I just started out, and I don't even think it was like very legal, right? Not what I was doing at the time, and so like for me to start in my own country helps a lot. And I think even if you start in Europe, because even for now, like if my product is really going to start taking off, I'm going to try to expand it to Germany and like the rest of Europe, and like then Europe suddenly becomes quite big. And I think then there's also still like a lot of money to be made, right? And then even maybe you can even start thinking about going to like the big four, right? And that's how I think about it now in my head. But I think that's what a lot of people try to do now, instead of just going to the USA market, because that's just it's way more difficult to break into, and it's just going to be more expensive to test your products as well in general.
For sure, yeah, and we have some clients in our community, like Topi. He's selling in Finland, and he's selling in Germany, like two main markets. Now he's diversifying to other markets as well, but he's done $1.4 million in pretty much mostly Finland and Germany, right? So it's like great markets with great potential to scale. Like even some of these European markets that have so much potential to grow like very substantial business. I have a question here from Joao Fernandez. I'm in the product research phase, having a hard time creating a good workflow due to so many research avenues. What was your process for product research? That's a great question.
my process was this time around what really worked for me. So I was just going through Facebook ads library, and I was basically looking up keywords. I tried many keywords. Like, you can, for example, shop now or 50% off, or even like maybe like go a little bit different direction, or just type in some keywords about the niche. For example, I don't know. You can do like headaches, for example, or stuff like this,
Mm.
and like, I don't know, 40% off, 20% off, like it's different type of things. Just like I was just scrolling, right? And then if I saw something interesting, I would just open it up in a new tab, and I would like, I don't have like 10 tabs open. Then I would just check each of them differently, or different each of them, and then yeah, I just look at the amount of ads basically that they were running, and how much like visitors they had on their website and whatnot, and that just that I mean that one worked out great for me, like this time.
So basically, ad library, which is, I mean, you can use it for free.
Yeah, it's free, completely free.
Very nice. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and I also recommend to people to use Facebook ad library, because literally you see who's currently advertising for specific, products, or using specific keywords. Like it's very like relevant, up to date, platform. So you can see, who's, let's say, having 100 active ads. So then you see, okay, so probably those people are spending good amount of money on ads. Those people probably doing some good numbers, and it's something worth modeling and learning from.
Exactly.
Awesome. So when it comes to like BBA, and thank you for thank you for your kind words. So what would you say to someone watching this video who's considering joining BBA, but maybe just skeptical, or has some hesitations if this is legitimate or not?
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is it's definitely legitimate. There's a lot of help. Yeah, there's a whole community. So if you ever have a question, you can ask literally anyone, and everyone's very helpful. And also the coaching, the is also just incredibly helpful. People have so much experience, and it's just, if you're then willing to learn, it's definitely worth it. Yeah, like you will see it pay off eventually. Yeah, I mean, it's only been positives for me, and I didn't know, because I had no idea. I mean, this question that you asked, I was thinking this myself before I joined, and like I was even thinking that after I like agreed to doing it, and after I purchased it, basically, I was even thinking that, oh my god, I know what I just got myself into. But in the end, it's a great group of people, and it's a real thing. It's not a scam for sure.
Thank you, Joran. And do you feel like getting that initial like traction, that initial traction that you had, like, do you think that's something that you could have probably like figured out on your own?
I mean, I think it's possible, right, to figure it out on your own. Like, certainly think it's can. I think it would have just taken like at least 3 times longer, probably. Like,
Mm,
and like, the road is 3 times longer. You're probably gonna be running into like a lot of more like issues. You're just gonna the problems that I was having were resolved so quickly now, which would have just like given me so much more headache if I didn't have the help that I did. And I think
mm.
like that's the huge part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can share my experience as well. Like, as I mentioned, on every stage of the business, like you would face different like challenges. And if you're trying to figure out everything on your own versus like just asking people who have been through those challenges before, it will probably just take like a lot more time and effort, and you might take some you might make some wrong decisions as well along that journey. And what we do pretty much is just kind of like helping entrepreneurs to simplify that path, right? The issues, the challenges will happen. That's like 100%. That's inevitable. That's part of running business. But we have solutions for most of the problems that we already know because we've been through that journey, from first step and on. So uh, thank you for your and I'm super happy. Every time I have these conversations, I'm just reflecting on. I'm very grateful for you to actually like first of all for your trust, like joining the program, but also for you to actually follow through and apply and be curious and ask questions and apply the feedback that the team gives you, because it's something that some people just take it for granted. Like they ask for feedback but then don't apply it, or they never ask for feedback, and that's just kind of wasted opportunity. So I appreciate you for being proactive in the community, for actually applying the feedback we give you. And I'm looking forward to just seeing you blow up this business, because you have very good mindset. You approaching it from longer term perspective. You have a big reason why, because like you mentioned, you want to help your parents, and I think that's something that it's a big reason why. So even when you have those hard moments, it's something that, like, I mean, you can always give up, right? And if it's only about yourself, right, and your personal goals, like it might not be like enough motivation for you to keep pushing. But if there's some people that you want to take care of, like eventually, right, like retire your parents, which is I think is phenomenal, then it will keep you moving in those hard moments when something is not working out, which again is inevitable in business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a big like reason. I think having those reasons definitely makes it easier. Yeah.
For sure. So I just have probably like two more questions, and then I'll let you I'll let you go and let you get back to running your business. So do you use Finalish or Shopify?
Shopify for now. I think Foundation will most likely come later. That once my business really starts taking off, which I'm very hopeful that it will. I'm going to definitely try my hardest to make it happen, right? And then I think Funlish comes into play, because I mean I don't have much experience with it now yet. So, but I think that's going to be the idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure, and on that note, I have seen so many people that like utilizing funnels, like in Europe, like I mean that gives them the competitive edge, because they can pre-sell their product better, educate customers on the product better, differentiate from the competition. So yeah, if you utilize that, you will absolutely destroy everyone else. And I had another question here. So you currently fulfilling your orders from China supplier, right?
Yeah. Currently I'm using CJ dropshipping.
CJ dropshipping. And what are
Yeah.
the shipping times you're currently getting?
To me, for this project, it's actually quite long. For this project, it's like 10 to 15 days, which is like relatively long. And I think usually it's even between like 6 and 9 days or something like that. So because my product actually, it's like it wasn't really there already. So I think it's longer when it's not there, and you need to like they need to source it then from AliExpress and whatnot. Then I think it's a bit longer usually.
And I had another question here from Ray Muhammad. Did you say it's better to focus on your own nation rather than trying to branch out to the USA? Yeah, I would if I was starting out like today, I would probably like just stick to my own country, or the language or the culture, the mentality that I understand, get the initial traction there, learn the skills, and then transition to a more competitive market like United States. So I have one more question for you. So knowing what you know now, if you could go back and just I don't know, maybe like a few months back, few years back, and tell yourself one thing regarding starting your own business, what would it be?
I mean, what would it be? What would it be? Um, I mean, to me, it's very important that like I'm going to be 100% behind my decision, and then just commit to it. Because like it doesn't, I don't think it really matters what it is. If it's a business or not, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. Just if you decide to do something and you decide to go for it fully with all you got, then I think the sky is the limit, and that's even with your business. Definitely with your business, yeah. Like, and I think it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like anything you will be able to make it work. Like I'm really convinced of that.
for sure. My man, I'm looking forward to seeing you at I think next benchmark. I always set it for for everyone. For everyone, it's 100K per month. It's first like stepping stone. So with your mindset, with your attitude, I think you'll be there like very soon. And then we can have another conversation, like sharing the lessons that you've learned. But yeah, it's very inspiring. Like your overall journey is very inspiring. And I think people got a lot of insights from that, like in terms of the mindset, how you approach the business, like in general. Some of the things that you've learned from your previous background. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you at 100K per month, my man.
I hope so too, man. I'm going to be aiming to reach that so we can have another call. And yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great.
Yeah. Thank you, Joran. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today. Guys, if you have like any questions or anything that we didn't answer, please just hit me up on Instagram. So this is my Instagram here. I'll drop it, and then I'll be able to support you there. And Joran, thank you so much for joining me. Wish you all the best on your journey. And yeah, I'll see you at 100K per month.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, man. And have a nice day. Thank you for having me.
You too. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.